Fearlessness. What's fearlessness? It's the underlying grit that empowers us as entrepreneurs to forge ahead. Even when hope seems distant, it's the courage to walk through those fires of hell, knowing that we're not going to just come out better on the other side, but stronger. Stay tuned and learn how to get fearlessness. I'm your host, Libby DeLucien, and we have a great guest today. Jon, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes. Thanks for having me on, Libby. I appreciate it. My name's Jon Karmazyn. I am located in Pennsylvania, eastern half of the state, just north of Philadelphia. And my entrepreneur journey started about 12 years ago. And I am currently in the exterior cleaning space, and we have a company that does Christmas lights as well. And I do a little bit of business consulting and coaching as well. So I'm married, been married for almost 19 years, and have two children. My oldest actually just got her driving permit 2 weeks ago, so she started driving. So that's exciting and nervous, a little nerve-wracking at the same time. So, talking about fear, that is definitely one of those things on the list right now for me because it's very real. So, yeah, it's great. We live on. Thankfully, we've been very blessed and had the opportunity to purchase what I would deem our dream property earlier this year. So we've got some acreage we get to spread out and have some fun. And so it's been a wild journey, and excited to be on here and kind of just talk life and share my story.
Awesome. I have a 16-year-old. He got his permit, but not his driver's license yet. And when I saw how much my insurance was going to go up, I said, well, I'm not going to push him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to wait. But then there's the other side of me that goes, ooh, I could have a driver so I could get more work done.
There you go.
Just drive me everywhere,
right.
Or run errands for me.
Yeah.
So I can get more work done. So it's like, can I do more work? Can I have more free time?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw you were, in the lighting space. We were just at the same conference, but did not see each other.
Yeah.
Which is
because it's huge.
It's because it's huge. It was a huge conference. But as far as your businesses go, how did you get into entrepreneurship and why?
So I guess you can kind of say I was an accidental entrepreneur, I guess. I always had like the desire, I guess, deep down. My father, I guess you can say he was an entrepreneur, but like he had his own business from really the year I was born. He started his own business. But it wasn't, it was kind of a business at times. It was what a lot of us struggle with as business owners is like, you kind of find the thing you're good at and you go out on your own and start it. But then it's the stuff that nobody taught you is like hiring employees and figuring out how to price jobs and all that stuff. So for years, he was really good at his craft, which was welding and fabricating. And he would have a helper here and there for as long as I can remember. And then, he started getting a little older, and that line of work is tough on your body. So he, I saw him though through this whole journey of like really, as he got up there in age, it was like, what's the game plan? Like what's the exit strategy on this? And so I kind of always look back to that and be like, okay, I don't want to be stuck in that position, because his story goes a couple of years ago, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, he sold his business to another like larger local company, and he's now working for them as an employee, which he's fine with because he was getting tired. But, I don't want that to be my only option as I move on in my journey here of business. I want to create options for myself. So I have many things to choose from, and I don't feel like I'm forced into one thing that maybe isn't the best fit for me. So, entrepreneurship in college, I kind of always had like these little side hustles that I would do and sell stuff on the side on eBay or like internet forums and stuff. And I just find myself in all kinds of weird, random opportunities, but I'm like, hey, if I can turn a buck on this and make some money, like, sure, let's do it. I'm a broke college kid. Like, this is what I need to do. So I think that was just always churning inside of me. And my story on how we started the business that we're in now in the exterior cleaning space was there was a guy that I worked with. I was in the construction space previously, managing larger commercial construction projects. And a guy I worked with was going to throw out an old pressure washer. And he's like, here, if you can get it running, like you can have it. And I was like, oh, cool. I need to wash my house. So this works out well. So I did what, most people do to try to figure something out. I went on the internet and I found a YouTube video and figured out how to fix
YouTube.
it. Yeah, figured out how to fix it. And, 15 minutes after searching on YouTube, I'm like, sweet, I got a pressure washer for free now. And so I went out, started pressure washing the side of my house, and actually kind of enjoyed it. Like the process was satisfying.
Oh, pressure washing is very satisfying.
Yeah.
I just pressure washed my back lanai last weekend. I know it's not a great use of my time, people would tell me, but I wanted to do it.
Right. Like it's one of those things. If you enjoy it, like, sure, why not? We all need some of those things in our life, right? Like we can't be so strict and optimized on everything that loses all enjoyment. So that was my story. Like we went out and started that. I got done on the house and I went back on the deck and started going. I'm like, okay, let's just keep going. And halfway through the deck, the pressure washer started like smoking and like, it wasn't good. Like, I'm like, okay, I think this thing is officially dead. So, but I'm halfway through the project and figured I can't just leave it like this. I got to find something to finish. So at the time we didn't have a whole lot of money. I was working for this company. We were in a ton of debt. Like that's another part of my story too. And, so I went inside and got on the laptop and started searching Craigslist to find some sort of unit that I can buy to finish this job. As I'm scrolling down through, I see a posting that said commercial pressure washer, box truck for sale, will help you start your own business, something along those lines. And it said, will help you start your own pressure washing business. And I was like, that was like a light bulb moment for me. It was like, that was pretty fun out there and enjoyable. And then, my college entrepreneur, always looking for a way to make a buck, like brain kicked in. And I'm like, I wonder how much opportunity there really is here. So started investigating that. And I think it was only about maybe 6 weeks later, we had a business plan put together. We went and got an SBA loan at the bank and I bought that truck and we were in business.
I was going to ask if you follow through with the Craigslist ad.
Yeah, we did. And I got it. So I think the thing I failed to follow through on was actually power washing the rest of my deck. I think that never got finished, but I was on to bigger and better things. So, so that's how we got started. It was 12 years ago now. And it's been a journey since, that's for sure.
That's great. I love your story because my dad is a welder. That's what he does. And,
nice. Yeah.
Your story, like your description is so true. It's hard on their body. It's, they're working with their hands. And for me, I didn't want that either. Like how, my dad is 70 now, but I mean, he can still run circles around me. But I didn't want that. Like the only option is for me to continue working with my hands, or working with somebody else versus working with my mind more, and having those options. And I think sometimes maybe I'm like you, I have too many options or opportunities, because then it kind of creates distraction.
Absolutely.
But I totally resonate with the story of your dad because my dad was the same way, like his own little gig, worked for himself, then part of a family business. So it's a great story. On that part, it just reminds me of my dad.
Yeah.
As far as like your business, it's 12 years old. So you had kids before your business, right?
Yeah.
And now you have kids. What do you think, like, what's been the best part of owning a business and having kids?
Man, so like going back to the start of it, they were really little, like really, really little. And it was a grind in the beginning, right? Starting out, like it's the hustle and grind season, just getting the thing off the ground and trying to figure it out. I mean, we had to put food on the table, right? Like that was my number one priority. I'm like, I've got these other mouths to feed. Thankfully, they're little mouths, but I've got other mouths to feed now. It's not just my wife and I. So That I think it was a good pressure to have.
Hey friends, Marnie Robbins here, host of Vibe Makers, a podcast now on the Work Defined Network. Look, we all know workplace culture doesn't come from a slide deck. Gross. It comes from people. So on Vibe Makers, I talk to the folks shaping the experience of work from the inside out. You know, the HR and people ops folk, founders, leaders, and misfits building culture through small bets, big beliefs, and a whole lot of trial and error. No fluff. Well, maybe a little fluff, but mainly just candid talk about what happens when you stop duct taping your culture together. Come check us out. Listen to Vibe Makers wherever you get your podcasts.
Because I think looking back, if it was just me or just me and my wife, like, yeah, I still want to support and we want to do good things. But I think having kids in the equation really lights a whole different fire under you to provide. And, man, it was back, hustling, knocking on doors, the whole guerrilla marketing, just going out and knocking doors and putting flyers out, probably places I shouldn't have been, looking back on it, but you just do what you got to do. And, I can still remember where I was when I got the first call from a flyer that I put out. I was like ecstatic. And I answered the phone and like, I almost didn't know what to say because I really wasn't expecting somebody to call. So I'm like,
it's probably your cell phone, right? As well.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like this awkward conversation, but thankfully the guy was super nice and kind, and like he actually made it easy on me. Thankfully the first customer I had was like a nice customer, not like one of those like demanding
those customers.
made it a nightmare. So, but yeah, I mean, going through our journey, I mentioned about we were in a bunch of debt too. Like that was another big push for us that we had to do something because we were just buried in debt. I tell the story a lot, and I mean, if you want me to, I'd happy to go into it. I don't know how much time we've got, but we were $163,000 in debt. That did not include our house. And it was killing me. I mean, talk about fear. Like that was, I just felt like I failed. You're talking about trying to like support the family, but we had this giant hole I had to dig out of first before like we can get somewhere and actually make some progress. So, we got the kids involved in that process when we decided like, okay, we've got a big old mess we got to dig out of. And we started paying that debt off. And I shared it in my presentation.
I was going to say, what kept you motivated? So this is like the fearlessness thing, right? If you're going to walk through that fire or you're going to turn around and walk away.
Yeah. So
in business, I just put on a Facebook post this morning, like I just cut $118,846 in expenses because it's been a weird year. And so like I'm trying to reposition to make sure like, hey, we don't overspend. And I had to make some really hard decisions over the last few weeks just to reposition with things. Also, it was like major inefficiencies. But if I would have let it go on, it would have caused issues. But what pushed you through that, like that hard thing?
I think it was just, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired is really what it came down to. We had gone through this game of trying to get out of debt and trying to like get to a level where we could be comfortable for a long time, before we started the business. And we just found ourselves continually digging a hole. So both my wife and I were like, we're done. Like, this is it. We are not going back to that feeling and that lifestyle again. So thankfully, we were on the same page and we locked arms and we're like, okay, let's go and do it. And it was very helpful to have a partner alongside you to have those, because like you said, I mean, there's days I just wanted to turn around and throw the towel in and be like, this stinks. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is hard. I need a break. And, she would come alongside and just be like, yeah, but it's not that bad. Like, we got this. And there'd be days where she'd be the same and I'd have to give her the pep talk, But I think, honestly, there was a good visual that we did as a family that really helped me like every day remember why we're doing it. We had our kids, and they were young at the time. They took construction paper and they made one of those paper link chains.
Yeah.
Out of construction paper, and every link on that chain represented $1,000 of debt that we were paying off. And we strung it along the ceiling in the one room in our house. So every single day, it was a visual reminder of and the chain was very representative of the feeling that we had of what the debt was doing to us. We felt like we were in bondage to it. So, and then after we got a chance, every $1,000 we paid off, the kids would go out and they alternated. Every $1,000 they got to cut the link on the chain, as a family. And it was this awesome experience that we got. And we all rallied against, together towards one common goal to get this thing taken care of. So that the kids understood, the sacrifices we were making. When dad was out working late hours for a big job that we had, they understood. And so it brought us together as a family. And I think it helped us push through those hard times of, I just want to turn around and be done with this. We saw every single day, man, 3 months ago, that chain was to the far corner and now it's halfway along the wall. We're making some good progress. Let's go. Let's keep going. So that was huge.
I love that story.
Yeah, it was huge for us.
I love that story. And, as much as we love our cell phones and we love, I'm guilty of my notes are all in my iPad. I think the one thing that we lack when we're trying to reach a common goal, or I actually think we lack a few things. One is a visual, something that's in your face all the time. We try with our phones. I have my vision,
Sure.
thing on my phone, but I love the visual of the chain and kind of how the what it represented. And then I want to talk about, because I'm huge on this, is the support you got from your wife.
Mm.
Me and my husband are super supportive. I talk about him all the time. People are like, why are you always talking about your husband? I'm because without that, I didn't, there's some mornings where you don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to do the hard thing. And they're like, oh, me and my husband have a joke. We call it champagne problems. We're like, he's like, sweetie, this is just champagne problems. It's okay. Because in reality, they feel horrible at the time. It feels so consuming, but we still have each other and we still can feed each other. And in relation to other people's problems, yes, they're hard. But it's just kind of our little it's champagne problems kind of thing. I would say your debt is not champagne problems, but those days where we have we just don't, the hard days where we don't want to get out of bed because we don't want to hold somebody accountable, or we don't want to do the hard thing. But with your wife and that support, I'm a huge advocate of taking care of myself first, then my marriage, then my kids, then my business. And I think your story just affirmed that, because you knew what you needed to do, but you just said, I had my wife's support, and then we got the kids involved.
Yeah.
So I love that. So what does your wife do in the business? Does she work in the business?
When she needs to, let's put it that way, because sort of like you hinted at there,
yeah,
there's times where I am just at my wit's end and stressing out over something. And she always just has this way of coming in, and it's after a 2-minute conversation, it's she just reframes it for me so quickly and easily. And it's man, yeah, you're right. I'm making a way bigger deal out of this, or it's not as big of a deal as I'm making it out to be, because I've been stewing on it for days and never said anything. And now all of a sudden she just well, duh, this is all you have to do, sort of thing, And that happens way more than more times than I can count. So, but she's involved in it on the HR side. And she's always she just kind of spot checks stuff for us. And it's always her. She's got such a good eye. Like she'll just jump in and like look at the schedule
It's good
occasionally.
to have an outside perspective from a higher
Yes.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she'll just swoop in and like just do a quick overview. And she like her questions are always so like on point because it's like, that's a good question. We're so in it every day sometimes that like we miss these things. And she just kind of comes in from up here and just does a quick scan. And she's like, okay, this looks out of place. What's going on here? And it's like, oh my gosh, we completely missed that. I don't know how, but we did. So then it's like, okay, one, let's figure out how to fix this. And two, like, why was this out of sorts? And then she comes in, she'll come in and help lead conversations with that. So yeah, I mean, I'd love her to be fully removed, but she actually enjoys it. So it goes back to that kind of what we hinted at earlier, if it's something that you enjoy, like, then don't deprive yourself of it necessarily, especially if it's productive.
I tend to ask my husband questions. And like, just because and I don't even, this sounds funny. I tend to ask him questions all the time just to get like someone's level-headed perspective. Because, as the visionary, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we're a little like too fast or, and I don't necessarily want an answer from him, but I just want to say it out loud. And then when he repeats it back to me, I'm kind of like, oh, I already got my answer. Okay. Like, he's like, you didn't want me to answer? I'm like, no, I'm good.
Sometimes just a sounding board is helpful.
Yeah. So for our listeners, I know a lot of people struggle with that foundational support at home. It's weird because me and my husband have been on this like sharing our journey, and we do morning dates and like some of the exercises that we do to kind of help keep alignment and just create that foundational support. Because I'm a big advocate that we can't be the entrepreneur we need to be if we don't have that support at home. So we can't focus on like self-growth. We can't take the risks we need because, again, we can't have a risk at home and risk at work. Right. And then we can't really make the investment in the company that we need as well, because if we don't have that foundation at home. So I'm a big advocate on that. And I've had a lot of people, like, I think it's something a lot of people don't want to talk about. It's not easy to live with an entrepreneur. Like, we are crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
We're a lot to deal with. Like, if you think it's bad for an office manager to deal with us, try our spouses dealing with us.
Yeah.
What are some tips, or what are some of the things you guys do, or you do? Maybe it's something that, like, I know I have to work on myself. Because again, like I said, we're a lot to deal with. So how do I tone down certain things, or how do I communicate better? But what are some of the things you do, or you and your wife do, to help build that relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you had said about, taking care of yourself. That's something that I've been just over 2 years ago. I was at a point after COVID. I picked up some bad habits during that time. I shouldn't say bad habits, but unhealthy habits.
Yeah. I'm like, what were you doing?
Yeah. Lots of more alcohol consumption than I probably should.
I drank so much wine during COVID that it wasn't even funny.
Beer and just, beer and burgers and all kinds of stuff that I'm like, I look back and I'm like, yeah, that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. And I end up, looking in the mirror one day and got on the scale and I was like, whoa, this is the heaviest I've ever been. And I just don't feel good. Like, I'm always tired and groggy, and it just wasn't good. So snapped out of it. My wife and I jumped in and we did the 75 hard program, and I made it 63 days. Unfortunately, I didn't make the whole thing. Made it 63 days, but in that I ended up losing 25 pounds through it. Really got back on a good, like, focused personal development track, and because I started losing some of that. But I think the biggest thing for my wife and I, just to make sure that, like, we're both rowing in the same direction, is like, we both have the same, I guess you can say, mission, and we're aligned on what our ultimate mission is. And we know then, like, if the other one is doing something that doesn't align with that, then a conversation needs to be had. And, she's called me out on times where I'm getting these crazy, visionary harebrained ideas and start like going down that rabbit hole. And she's like, whoa. Like,
Yeah.
I love
we
this.
We need the whoa person in our life.
Yeah. Like, I love this about you, but like the bridge is on fire over here right now. And we need to take care of this before, or, the ship's sinking and we got to take care of this before we talk about another crazy harebrained idea. So, just having that perspective is very helpful. But I think a lot of it is just making sure that you're aligned with your ultimate mission. Because it sounds kind of basic, but it's super important. And because really just the fundamentals of marriage, like if you're disaligned in areas, naturally there's just going to be friction because you guys either aren't rowing in the same direction or you don't agree on things, and that's fine. Like, I'm not saying you have to be the same person that agrees on everything, but there's certain, I think, fundamental principles that you do have to align on in order for it to work well.
Yeah. I think the key that you mentioned though was the sharing the mission, having the same mission and vision, but what your mission is. So I think a lot of people struggle with like, they don't really know, like, maybe the personal why or the mission. And it's, our companies are vehicles to help get us there. And it could be exactly. Part of the company. The company could be the vehicle to help us. But I think having intentional time to like say, this is my mission or vision of our life, and your wife doing the same thing. And like, how do they go together? Are they together?
Yeah.
I've had some entrepreneurs tell me that like their spouses don't like, they keep telling them like, I don't want to hear about it. Because, as an entrepreneur, we're complaining about everything. We're always complaining about people or customers or like, and I can't imagine as a business owner, my spouse telling me like, hey, I don't want to hear about this no more. Now, my husband has told me I don't want to hear about certain things because I've okay, like we're done, move on.
And that's okay. Like we need to hear that too, right? Because we need to get over it as well.
Yeah.
And that definitely helps sometimes to be like, okay, you've beaten this horse to death. Like, I get it. I don't want to hear about it anymore. Move on.
But I feel like for those visionaries or those business owners whose spouses don't want to hear about the business at all. And I just think sitting down and getting some alignment, working on what your vision is. And there is a personal, for our listeners, there is a personal vivid vision you can make, right? Vivid vision is a book. You can make it for your business. One of the greatest things me and my husband did was we each made our own vivid vision. And then we made a family one and how it integrates, right? And then we figured out, how does it integrate with the companies? How do we get that like through how does it integrate through the companies? And that process is life-changing. I highly recommend it. It's just a book. Most of Cameron Herold's stuff is free.
I haven't heard of that.
And Cameron Herold is a little out there. He's the guy who built 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a writer of Vivid Vision, Second in Command. Great, like just easy read because he writes in like just plain spoken English. But that book is what actually, I had a partner in one of my businesses, and that book is what broke us up.
Interesting.
And it's because we took our time to go, and I'm not saying I'm trying to break up anybody's marriage. This was a business partner. But we went off and we wrote our visions because we had a COO that says, hey, you guys need to like align on your vision. We're just like being stretched two ways. My partner went and he did it pretty quickly. And I took like 4 weeks because I said, hey, I want to read the book. I want to watch YouTube, like Cameron Herold's YouTube stuff. I want to do the exercises. And when we came back, my COO that I had for the company at the time said, okay, give me yours. He took my partners and he said, okay, I'm going to merge them together. And it was really interesting because, and this can be in life, this can be with business partners, with spouses. The end goal was the same, right? The end goal was to have a profitable company with great employees, like great culture. but the journeys were completely different. And it was a great insight because, I mean, writing that vivid vision, like I cried, I got mad, I got upset, I got frustrated. And I don't cry very easily. But it was a process that forced things out of me that maybe I wasn't being honest with myself, or I didn't know I wanted. But me and my partner broke up because of that, but without any fighting, without any arguing, because we caught it before that. When we felt the tension is when we went to write these visions. And when he read mine and I read his, we were both like, oh, like it's two different journeys. Like, how do we do this? And so I ended up buying them out. And, you know, we're still friends and it helped with the process. But even doing that personally for yourself and asking your spouse, like, hey, what's your vision for life, for anything? And I think it's a really, I took my husband through the same process. And so like like I said, we did personal ones each, family one, and then how do they integrate into the business was great. I noticed that personally, I was stalking you on Facebook. So I want to get the names of your business. I was Christmas, or it was lighting and power washing, but I saw you did a polar plunge for the first time.
Yes. Yeah. I did a cold plunge yesterday for the first time. I had so I bought a kit that had a sauna and the cold plunge, and the sauna I was super excited about. That was easy. I threw that thing up and had that. I've been using that for 2 weeks now, but the cold plunge, I've been very hesitant to open the box and get it set up. And finally I was like, all right, I just got to do this already. I'm not going to be that one that just like has it sitting in the box forever. So I got it set up and I did it. I did it last night and I did one this morning.
All right.
And it's actually been, it's not as bad as I was anticipating it was going to be. It's tough. Like, don't get me wrong. It's still tough. Like, it's physically, mentally, like, challenging. But I'm easing into it. Like, I'm starting on the warmer side of the cold plunge, journey. I saw a couple people saying like they're like right at 33 degrees. I'm like, man, all right. I'm way higher.
How long are you staying in?
I did 4 minutes yesterday and I did 3 minutes.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, I did 3 minutes this morning, but it was a little colder this morning than it was yesterday. So, and I actually it has like a chiller thing that just kind of like runs. So I left it on to try to get it down to the temperature that I want. So I keep like dropping it. I'm dropping it like 1 or 2 degrees every day. So I'm kind of easing into it. But I did find some people were talking about like your body builds like a thermal barrier if you just sit still. And it's weird. I noticed that. Like if I just like after 30 or 40 seconds just sitting there, like I can feel at first I thought I'm like going numb, but as soon as you like move, you can feel it super cold again. So I just kind of like try to shimmy around a little bit in there to get some of that, break that surface tension of I guess on your skin. I don't know the science behind it, but it's definitely a lot colder if you're moving around. So, but it's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Do you feel like Tony Robbins when you come out of it? Are you like all hyped to like?
I wouldn't go that far, but it is invigorating. And I think it, especially in the morning, like I got off the bike and then went out and did that. And like, it was cold, but also refreshing, but also like, holy cow, this is really cold. But doing it in the morning was good. It felt nice, got out and ready to start my day. So
that's good. I've done some Wim Hof stuff, so I'm sure you read
I've heard
the book.
about that. I need to learn more about that side of it. Yeah, Jonathan Maynard was telling me about that a couple of years ago, and I was like, okay, I got.
So he talks about the cold and how it builds mental like strength and resilience, subjecting ourselves to this on purpose. It's not just about feeling good; it's the mental like resilience we're building by putting ourselves under that pressure, because naturally we retreat from the cold and we go to the warmth. So if we're forcing ourselves into the cold, we're building like that mental resilience that we need when we are applied with pressure or stress. I took a whole Wim Hof thing, set in buckets of troughs of ice water. So, no, it's a great exercise, and I think it's really invigorating. Like you feel like $1,000,000 when you're done. Like you feel like a robotic person. Like
I feel like I'm late to the party with it, but it's a good time.
absolutely. So before we wrap up, is there anything that maybe you have in the works that you want our listeners to know about? Any special projects? Anything launching?
So I started a school group on the platform School.
Yes.
Literally just started it on Saturday, like launching it. Somebody at the Huge, I was talking with them, and they're like, got a lot of good stuff to share. Like you're doing a talk and presentation on marketing and helping people with their marketing. Like you should put a school group together and share your insights there. So I'm like, it's another platform. Like,
I know.
But I've been using it only since Saturday, but I'm really seeing the value in it now because, Facebook's great, but you can easily get distracted with all the billions of other things that are going on Facebook, where like the school platform is very focused. It's like, these are the topics, like you can really curate the content that you want to either see or participate in. So I started a school group. There's like, I don't know, 30, 50 people in there right now, only since Saturday. But, we're talking about business, different stages of business, how to get out of the stage you're in to the next one. We're talking about lots of creative, different marketing methods that you can use to help grow your business. I just did a video today I'm going to post about finding a space to unleash your creativity. Because that's something I'd struggled with is like, a lot of us know we need to have some sort of creative, content.
Outlet.
Outlet. There you go. And we need to create this content for within our business, whether it's SOPs or like, policies or marketing materials or content. Like we need an outlet to be able to have that creativity flow out of us. So I struggled a lot. Like I'd sit here in my office and I'm like, I just get frustrated. So then I started going out on my tractor and just spending like 15 minutes out on my tractor, driving around on the property, moving dirt around for no apparent reason whatsoever. And it, like, all of a sudden I just started getting all these great creative ideas popping out of me. I'm like, okay, this is clearly what I need to be doing on a more regular basis because it's unlocking this. So what is, I asked, like, what is that for you? What does that look like? What can you do that is as simple as just going for a walk? Or
Mine is going for a walk.
Yeah.
I do a ton of walking. And I take my phone. And so a lot of my videos are while I'm walking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
so
like,
that's great. So the school group, that's right. So the school group's a lot of those types of conversations, it's the name of the group is Rising Tides, because I think if we all share our ideas, rising tide lifts all boats. So, I love it. I have a heart to help people. It's just kind of the way I'm wired. I think I know a lot of people are, but I'm not really even looking. I do, like I said earlier, I do coaching and consulting, and I'd love to help people, but I just love to help people, period. If somebody wants to go deeper with me and like really focus, like by all means, like let's talk about that. But
before we wrap up, like your comment, this is something that a lot of people don't think about, is that we can, if you are truly, about helping people, we can, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying people in general, we can actually touch more people through just like lead generation, by sharing, by teaching, by content, than we can ever touch through our customers.
Yeah.
Right. And what I mean by lead generation is like just sharing that, making it public, whether people come to you, purchase from you or not. But, some of us struggle with, like, say, marketing. Maybe we don't have the funds to compete with a national franchise in our area to out market. But guess what? Even if you're a power washer, you can out teach that national franchise all day long. And you can touch more people and impact more people's lives through that than you can your actual customers.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And look, to that point about trying to outmarket a franchise, if that's you, if you've got this big franchise or this big company in your area, trust me, there's a lot of scrappy, guerrilla marketing type of things you can do as the small company that the big company's not doing anymore, because all those big companies started out doing those scrappy things. And then when they got big, they stopped doing them. So, you look at those and you're like, I want to do that as a small business. It's like, well, that works for them, but there's some really good things that you can do that really, honestly, they don't even cost that much money too. You just got to tap into that creativity. So we talk about some of that stuff in the group. So it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank you so much for being a guest. I also want to thank our sponsor, Woot Recruit, for sponsoring the Fearlessness Podcast. And to our listeners, if you love this episode, we have many, many more. Just visit thefearlessness.com. And guys, that's a wrap into the heart of fearlessness. Remember, every step we take towards every move we make towards our own strengths and courage, keep walking through those fires, because on the other side of you lies a version of yourself that's unstoppable. I'm Libby, reminding you to embrace your fearlessness. Until next time, stay brave, stay bold, and keep pushing forward.